about 10 to 15 times a year, maybe more, maybe a little less, depending on how your season's going. You get games that are just fun, just from start to finish, no matter what your team's record is, no matter where you are in the standings, you just enjoy it from start to finish. And tonight was one of those nights for the Mariners, which quite honestly, they've had a few of those in the last week or so that have felt really, really good. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. Mariners beat up on the Phillies tonight 10-2. They improved to 58 and 53 on the season. Houston does take care of the Tampa Bay Rays, so the Mariners remain in a tie for first place in the AL West. Houston right now does lead. They don't have the tiebreaker, but they lead based on percentage points. So listen, I think we're at the point now or what, this is game 111, 51 games to go. It's just going to be back and forth, Seattle and Houston. Houston's going to take a lead. Seattle's going to take a lead, and we'll see how this thing plays out for the American League West. But what a game tonight from the Mariners. I mean, just masterful all around. The only negative thing we can talk about was Jonathan Diaz was kind of rough in the ninth inning, but who cares? He's probably going to be down tomorrow because I believe it's Jonathan Hernandez who was claimed or signed by the Mariners. I think claimed or signed off waivers. He's pitched for Texas. Got some decent stuff. Could be a nice addition to the bullpen. He'll have to be added tomorrow because he's out of options. So Diaz will likely be going back down. So yeah, that's what I should have started this video with. Let's talk about Jonathan Diaz. Actually, what I should have started the video with is hit that like button. Helps out the video tremendously. Comment your thoughts on this W down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I am closing in on 4,000. Thank you so much for all the support. But yeah, just top to bottom, truly a fantastic win. Bryan Woo was masterful. The offense, literally from the first pitch, as Victor Robles takes the first pitch out of the ballpark, was on point. A 7-run second inning and never looked back. The Mariners never looked back in this game. I could start with the pitching. I could start with the hitting. But we'll just start with a great win for the Mariners. And truthfully, starting to play a little bit better, right? Like, I know I keep bringing up the White Sox sweep, but it's recent. You sweep that series. Offense showed up in that series. Got 3 wins. Boston was, listen, if the Mariners can take care of business and beat Philly, and then take care of business and beat Detroit. I shouldn't say take care of business and beat Philly because Philly's really good. But if they can win one more of these next 2 games, win this series, win the Tigers series, I can kind of let the Boston series go a little bit. You had one blowout loss, one blowout win, and then one kind of coin flip game that you dropped. Now, Mariners have got to start winning some coin flip games. They're 0-7 the last 7 one-run games. And every win is important right now as we come down to really the home stretch of the season. So it's not to dismiss a loss, but I can kind of let that go a little bit easier. And the Mariners can have a nice homestand here and really start kicking it into high gear. And I think it's pretty clear that since the trade deadline, or excuse me, I should say, since the acquisitions of Rosarina and then Justin Turner, this offense has looked a lot more formidable, and the team seems to be a little bit more dialed in, I should say. And listen, one thing we talked about with the clubhouse, right? We can go through all the numbers, everything, but it matters to the guys in the clubhouse. When you show that you believe in them and you go out and make acquisitions to get better, I think it meant something to the guys. They kind of talked about it when they got Randy Rosarina. Now, listen, did playing the White Sox that day help? Of course. But you feel like, okay, they believe in us. It's been a tough stretch, but they think we can get back into this. Let's prove them right. And this offense, outside of really the last game against Boston, has been absolutely fantastic since those trades. And even the last game against Boston, it was just couldn't get that big hit with runners in scoring position. Really, that was the only issue. They actually had the base runners. That could have easily been a 5 or 6 run game for them, no problem, with one more ball into the gap or something like that. So the offense is really starting to be dialed in. You know, Julio's on the mend. Sounds like you could see him back this homestand. So that's good to see. JP's a lot further along, it sounds like, but starting to do a little bit of work there. So we should see this offense or this lineup starting to come together. And you even got other things like Mitch Haniger actually swinging the bat pretty well of late. Has hit righties pretty well this year and gets a big home run off a tough lefty in Jose Alvarado. Now, granted, when the game was a blowout, but you know, Mitch's bat's starting to come alive a little bit, right? Dylan Moore has been playing extremely well here. So Jorge Polanco should be back in the lineup tomorrow. Scott said he's been on a heater. You get the big bomb from Luke Raley. What did I talk about in the last post-game recap? Raley's been struggling a bit. You could really use a big Luke Raley heater, right, for the final 50 games. Kind of what we had from Luke in the middle of the year. Maybe tonight was the start of it for Luke Raley. Victor Robles is on another planet right now. I mean, my gosh, like give the guy some MVP votes at the end of the season with how good Victor Robles has been. Arena's been a nice addition. Don't need to say anything more about Justin Turner and what he's done. Grand slam base hit tonight. Like even Josh Rojas has had some better at bats. And if Josh Rojas is put back into like the 9 hole against righties and he can have the occasional base hit and a walk type game, you can get something out of that. It'll play. And then Cal being Cal. So, it just starting to click a little bit, and it's clicking at the right time. Last year, this team got hot in August, then kind of wore down September. If they can do that again, I'm not expecting the same August that they had last season. But right now, you're tied. So if you can have that kind of August heater, you can get a couple 3-game lead in the division, and it's enough to hold up throughout September. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But yeah, it feels good. And the pitching we know is going to be good. Are there going to be moments where it's not perfect? Of course. But if you can get this offense improved, you can live with that a little bit, right? Like Castillo in Boston on, what was that, Tuesday? 6 innings, 3 earned runs. I thought Castillo was fine in that game, but it was nice to see them get a starting pitcher a win, and the starting pitcher didn't have to be perfect. More of that. We need more of that. Now, tonight, you just happen to get the perfect all around, right? The offense was perfect. Bryan Woo was perfect, and it worked out really, really well. So let's go ahead and dive into this box score. We'll start with the pitching like we always do. A career high 7 innings for Bryan Woo, 5 hits, no runs, no earned, no walks, 6 Ks. We talk about George Kirby's command. Bryan Woo is on another planet with his command as well. How many walks does Woo have this year? Let's see. He has pitched, I don't know if this is up to date, 60 and 2/3 innings. Let's see, is this up to date? Okay, can I get numbers here? 2.08. Yeah, this is up to date. 6 walks. Bryan Woo's walked 6 batters in 60 and 2/3 innings. I know a couple people mentioned it. Mariner Sir talked about it. Jake from Raise the Trident talked. Sorry about that. I had to pause the video. I had a hair in my mouth. That's what you guys needed for this video. But anyways, Mariner Sir talked about it. Jake from Raise the Trident talked about it on Twitter. Bryan Woo's just got like the smoothest, easiest delivery. He is very aesthetically pleasing to watch. And I agree with that. He is just, there's something about his delivery that's just, it's easy on the eyes for me, for sure. So, factor all that in, and just a tremendous outing for Bryan Woo against an absolutely loaded lineup for the Phillies. Kyle Schwarber, 833 OPS this year. Trey Turner, 861. Bryce Harper, 900. Bohm, 836. Marsh is hitting 6 with a 750 OPS. That would lead the Mariners. Real Muto's not quite having his best year, but 705 OPS. I mean, that's playable in the 7-hole. Castellanos, again, not having his best year, but 702 OPS. I mean, these are numbers we would kill to have in the Mariners lineup at some point. You know what I mean? So this is Bryson Stott's their worst hitter by OPS, and it's a 680. Like that would be like third best on the Mariners before some of the trades they made, but just goes to show that lineup is absolutely loaded. I know they're scuffling a little bit right now, but part of the reason they're scuffling is you got guys like Bryan Woo shutting them down. So one, good to see Woo go career high 7 innings. I thought they might take him out after 6 and just let Diaz kind of, clean up the last 3 innings, since Diaz is going to go down tomorrow anyways. But it's really cool to see Woo get a career high in innings. And listen, I know they got him the big lead, but sometimes you see pitchers struggle with that. They're in the dugout a longer time. They don't quite have the command control. I got a buddy that pitched in college, and he would always tell me, and listen, I don't know, it's an anecdotal evidence, so I don't know how true it all is, but he used to tell me he hated pitching with the big leads. Actually, it was great to get the run support. He wasn't mad about it, but he was always like, it was tough because it's like, if I go out and throw 7 shutout innings, everyone's going to go, well, that's what you're supposed to do. Your team was up 13-0. And if I lit up anything, if I walk a batter, everyone's going to look at you and go, how could you walk somebody? We're up 13-0. And you can lose your focus sometimes because of the big lead. So he used to say that he'd always keep the intensity up more in the closer games. And sometimes it was harder to keep that focus with the big lead. Now, his point wasn't to say that he didn't like the big lead or it wasn't a good thing, but sometimes it could be a little tougher to just maintain that dominance. And Bryan Woo did that today. Even after that 7-run inning, comes right out and has a 1-2-3 inning. Didn't let, how many times we see a big inning, and I'm not just saying with the Mariners, but in general in baseball, Then the starting pitcher goes back out there, walks a couple guys, lets a team claw back into it a little bit. Woo did none of that. Just a fantastic, fantastic outing from Bryan Woo. And it looks like came out of it healthy, which is huge. Trent Thornton pitched the eighth, struck out Bryce Harper. It was good to see. Thornton's really been scuffling of late. They could use a little Trent Thornton bounce back. Gregory Santos goes on the IL. The good news is the MRI was clean. I think with such all the like little issues Santos has had, sounds like they kind of put him on the IL just to kind of like take a reset and get right a little bit. So might be the right decision there. JT Chargois comes up, and then you'll have Hernandez tomorrow. So a couple arms to join the bullpen. But just with that happening, you could use a little bit of I talked about the Luke Raley run to finish the year. You could use it a little bit from Trent Thornton, as well here, hopefully. So, maybe Thornton can get back on track. Diaz, like I said, a little rough in the ninth inning. I can't believe I let off this video talking about that because who cares? But gets out of it, and the Mariners secure a win. And the nice thing is, too, Philly really had to jump into their bullpen. Banks won't be available tomorrow. Alvarado threw 15 pitches, so he may be. I think Ruiz and Marte aren't necessarily their big arms. And I know for a fact Garrett Stubbs is not one of their big arms. But good to get in their bullpen and maybe make them a little shorthanded the rest of the series. And for the Mariners, you've got Munoz now has had 3 days off in a row. Jimmy Garcia hasn't pitched in 2 days. So Chargois, Sauce, all the guys should be good, rearing and ready to go. Austin Voth as well. He pitched the last game of that series in Boston. So your bullpen should be full go for tomorrow. Even Thornton could probably go in a pinch if he needed him to. And like I said, Diaz will likely be down. So I think anytime you can hold a lineup as good as the Phillies to 2 runs, which basically were in garbage time, you did something really good. So, don't expect that necessarily again. This lineup can hit. But a tremendous, tremendous outing by Woo and Trent Thornton as well. So just nice job by the Mariners pitching staff to get through this one. How about the offense today against Phillips? What is Phillips' first name? Tyler Phillips, who's been pretty good this year. He was 3-0. I think his ERA was like 1.8 or something through his first few starts this year. In fact, it looks like that's the first time he's pitched. After today has 5 walks, 20 strikeouts, and 26 2/3. So he's had pretty good command. 3 of those walks came today. He only goes an inning and 2/3, 5 hits, 8 run, 8 earned, 3 walks, 1 strikeout. And here's the thing. When a team scores 8 runs off a starting pitcher that quickly, not to say they don't mash them, but sometimes there's some bloops that just fall in. Weird stuff. A hit by pitch that maybe just grazed a guy, and then someone puts one in the gap. The Mariners hit everything hard tonight. Even early on, the foul balls were being crushed. Dylan Moore missed a home run off a foul ball. Turner in the first inning hit a couple foul balls that were hit hard. Cal rocketed one in the gap that was caught. So even like on Twitter, I was saying through one inning when they had 1 run, I'm like, I feel pretty good because they're hitting the ball really, really hard. I'm curious what the expected batting average was for the tonight's game. I'm sure in favor of the Mariners greatly, but I'm just curious because, it just seemed like everything was hit hard, especially early on. Maybe later it tailed off a little bit. Luke Raley's home run, 115 exit velo, 109 Victor Robles, Haniger 2 at 108 hit off the bat. 319 expected batting average today for the Mariners. It was probably at like 450 through 2 innings. They were just pounding everything. The Robles home run, no doubter, first pitch, gone. Let's just go through the offensive box score here, and we'll talk about the players individually. Victor Robles, 2 for 4, 2 runs scored, solo home run, and obviously the RBI. OPS at 839. Just crushed. Robles knew it right away. If you can go upper deck as a right-handed hitter in T-Mobile, like that's that Mike Zunino, Nelson Cruz, Vlad Guerrero territory that very few players hit. And then another base hit for Robles, 2 later in the game as well. One, good to see Robles back in the lineup, right? Number one, because a little bit of issue with, I think it's a hip issue. They said he was feeling much better back in their day. Who would have thought, if I would have told you back in May doing these post-game recaps that, hey guys, just so you know, or when we played the Nationals, right, in May or June, if I would have looked at you and gone, hey, that Victor Robles guy that's on the Nationals right now, he is going to be one of the most key factors for the Mariners down the stretch, just so you know. Be like, huh? Who? Victor Robles, that former top prospect? And he's come here, and now when he's not in the lineup, it's like, oh no, not Victor Robles being out of the lineup. Just insane. Is he running a little bit of a high BABIP? Of course. Like, I think anybody that's hitting like he is going to run a little bit of a high BABIP. But he's putting the ball in play hard. This is not just like little bloopers falling in for him. Good approach. I know I say it every video, but as I also say every video, when you're doing daily recaps, you're going to repeat yourself. But how impressive has he been? I mean, that home run was crushed. How many home runs is that now for Robles? 3. Like, he's not going to hit 30, but he could be a 10 to 12 home run guy. So he's got just enough pop, enough speed, good defense, good approach at the plate. And man, is he barreling up the ball. Just incredible. And again, I'll reiterate, it's not like, and not that you have to be a former top prospect to be good in baseball. There's guys that come from everywhere and every angle that succeed, and there's a lot of top prospects that fail. But Victor Robles was a very, very highly rated prospect. It is not the craziest thing ever that he has found something later, not even later, but a little bit later in his career than some other guys do. It's not the craziest thing. I'm getting that contract. You need Victor Robles back next year. Like, even if he drops off, a bit, so what? You can probably get him really cheap. And what if he keeps this up? Then you've got Victor Robles under contract for next year. I mean, right now, your starting outfield next year is a Rosarina, Julio, and Victor Robles. Now, I'm not claiming you just hand him a job next year, right? Like, I think we still want to see it through the end of this year. But I'm convinced enough where I'm giving him, at least offering him a 1-year deal for next year. I'm at the very least doing that. I don't think there's any downside to that whatsoever. I might not make it a 2-year deal right now. Still want to see, but if he wants a 1-year deal and he's willing to take it, I am giving it to Victor Robles right now, which is just insane. Caden Marlowe pinched hit for him was 0 for 1. Randy Arozarena quietly on base 3 times, 1 for 3, 2 runs scored, and 2 walks. Was caught or picked off at first base by Banks later in the game. Arozarena just, hasn't had necessarily like the extra base hits yet since coming over. But I feel like every game I've done since Arozarena's arrived, I'm talking about how, Randy on base twice, Randy on base 3 times. So kind of seeing that spark plug that he can be. And man, with Robles and Arozarena at the top, and I think once Julio gets back and catches his groove, you got to feel really, really good about this outfield. So nice game from Arozarena. Cal was 0 for 2, did walk twice. Cal on base twice as well. Stung a line drive in the first inning, just happened to be caught. I think he hit it like 105 or something like that. Justin Turner, 2 for 4 runs scored and 4 RBIs. Those 4 RBIs would be coming on the grand salami that he hit in the second inning. Also had a base hit the other way, which I thought could have scored a Rosarina. I think it probably would have had the game been like 0-0 or 1-0, but an 8-0 game, Manny held him up. Probably the right decision there at that point in the game. You don't want to risk an injury, a hamstring, something like that. But yeah, how about Justin Turner with the grand slam in his first game in T-Mobile Park? I'm telling you guys, I think Justin Turner is going to help. He is a good baseball player. Is he perfect? No, outside of 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, Barry Bonds, there is no perfect hitter. But good veteran presence, like I keep saying, doesn't strike out, works the count, can make good contact. A grand slam tonight, the base hit the other way, knows how to get that run across, knows how to get the run in. He's going to help. And you can see why I like the move. He's an upgrade with what you had at first base. Like, he doesn't have to be perfect. But if Justin Turner can give you he's been running a 10. He came over here, his WRC plus was 109. It was 110 entering the game today. It's probably going to go up. Yet this team could absolutely have used a 112, 113 WRC plus hitter. And I don't really care that he's 39 or whatever. He's a free agent at the end of the year. You don't have to bring him back for 2024 if he's meh. But meh might be better than what you've had at first base this season. So just really nice pickup. Arozarena is the headliner. I think Jimmy Garcia is going to really help, but I think Turner low-key, I'm telling you, it's kind of the Carlos Santana vibes. How much did Santana help in 22? Now, he came over a lot earlier, but I really think Justin Turner is going to help big time. And I think he's going to have some really, really big hits for the Mariners. And he's already delivered a couple of them since he's been over here. Rojas 1 for 4 with an RBI ground out. Dylan Moore was 0 for 2, but scored a run and walked twice. Mariners walked 6 times, only struck out 7. Good to see. How about Mitch Haniger? 2 for 4, solo home run. The base hit was a line shot, 108. In fact, the 108 I talked about, I think, was on the base hit. Then he hits the home run off Jose Alvarado. Listen, Mitch Haniger has hit right-handed pitching this year. I believe his WRC plus against righties coming in today was like 118, 119. You could actually make a case that you should be platooning Garver and Haniger at DH because Garver's actually hit lefties pretty well. And some reason Haniger's hit righties well. Now, he's hit lefties to the tune of a 9 WRC plus, but he got the home run off Alvarado today. Maybe that's a sign. Listen, Mitch Haniger still has not been very good this year. I can't sit here and tell you he has been, but he's starting to swing the bat a little bit better. You're starting to see a guy that can contribute and is contributing to this team, not someone that's just completely lost it up there. And, again, I think lengthening the lineup a bit, getting Turner and Rosarina in there has helped. And if you can get, 20, 30, 35 solid games from Mitch Haniger here down the stretch, it's another one that's gonna help big time. So good to see. Listen, at this point, they're obviously not releasing Mitch Haniger, right? And you're thinking, Jay, didn't 2 weeks ago you made a video saying you wanted France, Polanco, and Haniger off the roster? Yeah, I did. I stand by that video. I don't regret making that video. At the time, I did want all three gone. One of them's gone, and Ty France, who I wish the best to in Cincinnati, not rooting against him at all. Polanco has been on a tear since then, and he should be back in there tomorrow. Haniger swung the bat better. And right now you kind of need him, right? Because you don't have Julio in the outfield. But if he's DHing occasionally with the occasional start in right field, it could work. It can work. And he's been swinging the bat much better here. And then you've got Vossler came in on defense. Luke Raley 1 for 4 with a 3-run home run that was absolutely demolished to right field, upper deck shot. I think one of the furthest home runs I've seen hit there. I know Zunino has the record, but man, that was absolutely crushed off the bat. No doubt about it. Man, they pounded Phillips today. That might be as just powerful as I've seen the Mariners lineup this year. I know they've had some good innings, some good moments offensively, especially recently, but I think that inning there, that second, was the best I've seen the bats all year. And man, give me one more Luke Raley heater before this season ends. Just tremendous. Rivas was 0 for 4. The only guy that couldn't get on base, unfortunately. So someone's got to take the worst offensive day. Someone had to do it. Great win against a good team. You're one win away from winning this series. It would be great to find a way to get a sweep. I'm never going to anticipate a sweep, especially against a team of the Phillies caliber. I know they're struggling a little bit, but it's still a good ball club. They're going to get right here at some point. Hopefully Bryce is on his game tomorrow and you can find a way to get this series locked down. And not that Sunday's gravy or anything like that, but it would feel really good. And it'd be nice to see this team win a series against a good ball club. They did a little bit earlier in the year, but recently they've been kind of scuffling. That's why I really wanted to see that win in Boston. It would have been nice to get that series W over a strong team. Just couldn't do it, but hopefully they can do it here. And winning game one always feels good because it sets the tone. Just need one of the next two. Hopefully Tampa can get a win against Houston. But you know what? You can't worry about other teams. You got to focus on the Mariners. Got to focus on the Mariners. And today they did their job. Fantastic game, fun game. Let's do it again tomorrow. Like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully tomorrow, possibly. Not to put any pressure on, but Jake might be joining me tomorrow for the post-game recap. We were almost going to do it tonight, but I ended up having some family obligations and stuff, so I didn't get home till much, much later tonight. So it just didn't quite work out, but we'll see if he'll be on with me tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody. And as always, go Mariners. Peace.